I woke up on a bright, crisp Monday morning. Could have been much like any other morning, but no. Today was a different day. A particular day of the year, a day that I routinely feel the same exact way every year since 2015. Today is November 8th, 2021. And how I usually feel is awkward, diminished, ashamed, indifferent, irritated, cast away, and ultimately over it. Just ready for the day to be over with. Consistently, there are 2 other days of the year that I live feeling just like this all day. Those days being May 3rd and Father's Day in June. I wake up alright, thankful for life. But then when I realize what day it is, that dark cloud starts to form itself over me again. You see, November 8th is my daddy's birthday, and May 3rd is the day he died. And Father's Day as well. Father's Day, the key day of recognition for awesome dads. My dad and I didn't have the best relationship though, if that's even what I would call it. I started seeing him in a different light around 9 years old, when questions like, is he still coming? Or, did my daddy call? Became a pattern that I started to get used to. The year he died, if we had even chatted that year, is a mystery to me. However, that's not the case with my daddy's 3 other daughters, my sisters. They all have a bond with him, a real relationship. One of them told me that I could too if I tried more and called him more. Bitch, what? Anyway, so as you may be able to tell, the way I come off on these 3 particular days of the year does not at all align with my sisters. What they do, what they say, or how they feel. So usually, when these times roll around, I'm just ready for the day to be over with. Feels like everyone is looking at me, wondering why I haven't posted or said anything. I don't know, something. It's a war of emotions. I feel angry, apathetic, and condemned, all at the same time. How is that even possible? But this year was different. It's 2021. My daddy died young, barely breaking the 40s in 2015. And what slapped me in the face like a woman scorned this year was the fact that I was still mad at him and holding on to a lifetime of negative emotions. And I didn't realize it until May of this year. What happened was, I was sitting there at home trying to decipher my, yet again, very complicated emotions and figure out whether or not I was going to make a heartfelt post or not to commemorate him on Facebook. All eyes on me, again. But as I tried to think of what to say, all my thoughts led to disappointment, anger, confusion, dissatisfaction, unhappiness. All in all, negativity. Every single thought I had was negative. It's almost like not one good thing existed between us. That first initial thought of my daddy transformed into an endless mental list of painful memories, a pit of darkness. And all I felt was rage. Next thing I knew, my eyes were full of tears. Then it hit me. Oh my gosh, my daddy is gone. He wanted to be cremated. Literally gone. And I'm sitting here pissed off, with steamy, teary, bloodshot red eyes, livid and teeming with cold-hearted unforgiveness. And he's not even here. It never occurred to me how mad I really was, or that I was even upset. Because how? How can you be mad at someone who has died? Is that not wrong? And what's even the point? I never really thought about my dad. I didn't want to. because it always hurt. it always led to me being mad or having an attitude. So I deliberately tried not to. That, my friends, is what we call running away from your pain. Since this revelation, I've been trying to forgive him and let it go. Because, sometimes we forgive people, or we say we forgive people, and still don't really let it go or stop thinking about the past. We don't fully clean the slate even though we say and we believe we've forgiven someone. It would be nice if letting go was as simple as physically taking something off and sitting it down. That's how they describe it in church anyway. But most times, that's not really how it goes when you're trying to let something go that ate you to the core. However, regardless of how hard I knew this might be, I still needed to get this weight off my shoulder, off my back, off me, period. Because I was tired. I've been in an emotional prison, and I put myself there unintentionally. These 3 days of the year have been dreadful to me for the past 6 years. They consume me like a wildfire. And for if only those 3 days of the year, I wanted to vanish. In this process of emotional recovery, it came to me, and I decided to go with it and write my daddy a letter. When I started this letter, I really didn't know what to say or where to start. So I started by saying just that, and it flowed from there. 10 minutes turned to 20, and 20 into 40, and I was still writing. I let it all out. Everything I tried to say, that I wanted to say, that I needed to say, that I didn't know how to say. So with that said, the beginning of the letter wasn't very pretty. But by the end, I was in tears. My mind and my words took me to those times my mama warmly urged me to talk to my daddy and tell him how I felt, and how I always told her no. Then it took me to how proud I felt as my friends asked me, "Is that your daddy?" when he came to pick me up. How elated I was as I waved bye to my friends as I hopped into his old white hoopty. How I would cry for him when I missed him so much as a young girl. How I loved him more than he probably ever knew. How I spent so many years mad at him because all I really wanted was for him to love me. How I closed myself off from him. How I really am hurt that we didn't get a chance to make things right. How I had secretly hoped after his death that the strain of our relationship didn't add to the stress in his life that led to his heart attack. How I needed him. How I look in the mirror sometimes, some days, and see his face instead of my own. And how truly sorry I am. I was young and angry. And I felt like it was his job to fix what he broke. I didn't want to call him like my mama suggested. I wanted him to feel my rage, to feel my unforgiveness and my independence. And I'm sure he probably did, because I made myself unapproachable. I didn't make it easy for him at all. I tried to talk to him once, and in the end, felt all kinds of rejected. He took me out for dinner for my 17th birthday, and when I started asking questions and seeking clarity, he told me I was too young to understand. Words that pierced me, because I felt that showed how much he really didn't know me. He said after my mama had me, he had to go straight to work. That he didn't get a chance to branch out or do anything, and had been working ever since. It felt like it was my fault. That hurt, because I felt like a burden. And from there, my already brewing emotions took off. I took that conversation and put it in my pocket. It was the last straw for me. Things were never the same since. And now he's gone. I could have tried again in my 20s. Even if he did want to say something at any point, it couldn't have been an easy conversation starter for him. I could have treated him like a person, one who makes mistakes, just like me and everybody else. I didn't have to make him feel shut out, like I didn't need him or like he wasn't good enough. But I did. I had a role in what happened to us too. Wow. What a release. Who knew by the end of this letter that I had been avoiding writing for months? That I had no clue where to start. That it would end with tears dripping down my face and onto the pages. Who knew that by the end I would have given myself the real opportunity to mourn and actually miss my daddy, the man I've spent just about my whole life mad at. Who knew that I would feel such a release? My daddy loved me. My daddy cared about me and was proud of me. I had placed him and left him on a pedestal so high that no man should be expected to be on for so long. As the time came to prepare this letter for shipping, I addressed it just as my heart told me. I sealed it with love and sent it off at the post office. What happens to this letter after I send it out to the world is beyond what I need to think about. I know my daddy will receive my letter, and with it, I release anger, hate, unforgiveness, jealousy, bitterness, and make room, unlimited room, for love, joy, peace, happiness, and most of all, freedom. Daddy, I'm so sorry. I love you, and I forgive you, and I hope you forgive me too. Love, your firstborn, Gabby. I'm not saying my daddy was right. I just can't keep living my life wishing things were any different.